Alright, 7th graders, this is Mr. Macaluso here. I'm going to walk you through as briefly as possible, but with as much explanation as I can, the final assessment for our Introduction to World History unit. And we are going to be imagining that you are applying for a job as the lead historian at the Smithsonian Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. If you've ever been there, you know that the Smithsonian Institute runs a number of national museums located on the Mall of Washington, D.C. And if you haven't, you may visit there this upcoming summer through the Washington, D.C. trip. So it's a great opportunity to just engage in the idea of what it would be like to actually use your skills that we've learned here in this unit to get a job and show what you have, if you have what it takes to be an historian. So I've just zoomed in here to get us a little closer here so we can see what's going on. So the first section goes through the job description, the qualifications and requirements for applying for this position. And the key thing to understand here is that our statement of inquiry for our unit is right here, the underlined italicized part. And that is your goal in this project, is to show that you understand and can bring evidence to show you understand that statement. So your goal is that applicants must be able to explain how, as a historian, he or she has, and here it is, investigated continuity and change over time. And that's the key thing you have to show. How do historians investigate continuity, or things being the same, and also change, how things differ over the course of time? Okay? So, moving forward, as an applicant, your role is that you have to submit evidence of your skills as a historian to the Office of Curation at the Smithsonian Institute for the goal of being hired for a full-time position as lead curator at the National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. Okay, so I just changed the word curation to historian to give you a better understanding of what that is. We can talk about what a curator is in class. The Office of Curation would be, but your job is going to be a lead historian. I forgot I had changed that. So I've made that change on the assessment here. So your audience is going to be the hiring committee of the Smithsonian. They have advertised for qualified historians in the field of American history. You have to have at least a PhD, which is a degree. If you go to college, you would get a 4-year degree, a Bachelor of Arts, it's called, or Bachelor of Science. Then you could go on and get a master's degree, it's called, at a higher level of education. Then beyond that, you could get what's called a PhD. And so that is the kind of level of expertise that the Smithsonian is looking for. And you also have to have taught at a 4-year university. So perhaps you're going to want to show evidence that you have that experience in that teaching, probably at the beginning of your presentation. The situation is this: the hiring committee has asked you to present evidence of your skills as a historian in the form of any one of these 3 things. A portfolio of evidence showing your skills. B, a presentation of evidence showing your skills. Or C, a live interview with the lead hiring coordinator. And that's 3 spots per class. So you would be interviewing with me, the lead coordinator at the Smithsonian, and we would just do a live interview instead of a presentation to the class or a portfolio of your skills. So what is the product performance? So you have to research, develop, plan, and create a digital presentation or a digital/portfolio presentation, or at least prepare an interview to give to the hiring committee for review, or request a personal oral interview with the hiring committee. If we have more than 3 people, sorry about that, if we have more than 3 people that want to do that, we'll have to just do a drawing. And wrapping up here, let's take a look at our hiring presentation requirements. The standards and criteria. Your application will be evaluated using Criterion A and Criterion C. So let's take a quick look at Criterion A. So Criterion A here is knowing and understanding, and this is your ability to show that you know and understand the content from our course. So let's zip all the way down here to 7-8, which is your highest level of achievement. The student uses 2 things: consistently uses relevant vocabulary accurately, And do you show that you demonstrate excellent knowledge and understanding of content and concepts through detailed descriptions, explanations, and examples? And then over here on the right, what I've done is I've really spelled it out in as much detail as I can without getting too wordy, what that would mean for our project. So for this first one, you would look at this and say, do I consistently use relevant word card words accurately? So remember the word cards that we've learned throughout all our lessons. Do you use those consistently throughout, relevant ones throughout the entire presentation in an accurate way? And for the second one, Roman numeral 2, I'm going to move this down here. Do you demonstrate excellent knowledge of my historical skills by showing detailed descriptions, explanations, examples of key content and concepts? So there's not a lot different there, but understand that those big key content and concepts are the things we've gone through and the big ideas. So if you look at the big ideas part of all your lessons, then you will be able to pull out those concepts through those. And then it goes down in levels from there. So I'm not going to read through all of those, but let's now go back to criterion C and take a quick peek at that. This is your communication skills. So either oral, as a presentation, or as a portfolio. So 3 very different ways of doing communication. Interview is obviously oral in a verbal manner. Ability to speak well and to answer questions. Presentation is your ability to show digital presentation and to a larger group, and then obviously your portfolio is your skills at writing and creating a very, very nice visual presentation. Excuse me. So going all the way down to 7 and 8, the student communicates information and ideas in a way that is completely clear to the hiring committee. And the second one is you completely organize information and ideas effectively. So how does that look in ours? Again, not a lot of difference here, but let's go through it. I communicate information and ideas in my portfolio or presentation or interview in a way that is completely clear, and I completely organize my information and ideas effectively. So I haven't spelled that out a lot, and it looks like I didn't even complete all of them in here because I think I realized that there wasn't a lot of difference to me between this. I think this is very clear as to what this is referencing. So I didn't need to spell it out in too much detail on the right. But always, of course, ask, and I can let you know what I see. But realize that your target audience is a hiring committee at the Smithsonian, not your teacher in your 7th grade early world history class. So to wrap it up, here are your required elements. You in the actual content of the project. You demonstrate and explain how, as a historian, you have investigated continuity and change over time using these skills. Use word card terms as much as you can. So your job is going to be to demonstrate examples and evidence and explanations of how you can do all of these skills. So your job is to pick any content in American history that you want, and if you even though it's an American history job, if you want to dabble into world history, that's fine. I have no problem with that either. Just your historical skills are what are being looked at in this job interview. You need to be able to tell me what are maps and what they can tell us, how historical events and accounts differ, how you analyze primary and secondary sources for accuracy using internal and external consistency checks. Going on here, 4 steps to can you show that you know the 4 steps to investigating the past, which are framing the problem, select and analyze evidence, organize info, and creating an account. And finally, on this organizing info, do you know the 4 tools to organize the past? Do you understand significance, social institutions, temporal frames, and spatial frames? All right. So that's all the skills we've been learning in this entire unit, and now it is your job to put them up for review by the Smithsonian Hiring Committee and show us your amazing skills as a historian. Don't hesitate to ask questions as you go, but again, to understand the assessment and what you're actually making or creating, refer back to this video, and I may refer you back to it myself. So good luck and on your job interview, and I'm excited to see what you guys can come up with.